I know it's hard right now. I know that probably you are seeing your portfolio bleeding. And I want to address that today. And I will follow the same thing that I've been following since I'm doing YouTube. Honesty, transparency. And today I'm going to address all of this, okay? And I know I've been there, okay? And I feel what you probably are seeing right now and feeling right now, okay? There's also a part of your brain that's sabotaging you, okay? And I'm going to explain all of this. But I want you to understand that I understand what's happening with you, okay? I understand that we had the biggest forced liquidation event, I would say, since the October 10. And even bigger, not bigger than October 10, but since October 10. But everything dropped yesterday, okay? Everything went red at the same time. At the same time. And I know something also. I know a lot of you didn't sleep last night. And how can I say this? Now it's the time to make some changes, to fix some things, okay? And today I'm going to show you two things. Exactly what broke, in my opinion, of course, in my opinion, and how you can start to recover your portfolio, okay? And I want to be 100% transparent with all of you, as always have been my motto. And I want you to understand this. It's really hard for someone like me that's been doing content since 2022 to try to please everyone, okay? I know some of you joined crypto in 2022. I know some of you probably bought the top on November 2024. Maybe someone bought the bottom of April 2025. It's really hard to please everyone. It's really hard to speak to everyone, okay? So what I'm doing here on my shows, in English, in Portuguese, maybe in another language soon, let's see. What I'm doing here is my opinion, it's my experience, okay? But like I said, I will not be able to please everyone because the audience is a large one, frankly, and I will not get to each one of your pain points, okay? But I can give you my example here. All the tokens that I bought in 2022, none of them are on the red. None of them, okay? If I haven't taken profits, I would still be in profits, okay? But this is my situation, my reality. If you bought the top of 2024, you are in a major loss. If you bought the top of Bitcoin at 126, you are at a major loss. So this for you just to explain that it will be really hard to go exactly to your pain point. But I will try today, okay? Like I said, I'm going to explain you what, in my opinion, happened yesterday. And I'm going also to tell you or try to help you to fix it, in my opinion, what I will do in your situation. Because I've been in your situation more than once. I joined crypto in 2017. I bought the top of everything. I lost tons of money in 2017 or 2017. I've been there. And I'll always be honest with you, okay? And again, I'm not the top is in or the bottom is in crew. I'm the guy that has a plan. And I'm the one that's always trying to tell you that shit happens, okay? And first, you need to understand where we are right now. But I wanted to give this introduction. It's really important for you to understand this, okay? And this is crazy. I've never seen it like this, okay? But the fear and greed on the market right now is at 10, but it was at 5. I've never seen it at 5. Never. It was the first time. But I know that now it's not the time to be selling your major ones. It's actually, usually it's the opposite, but that's something I'm not going to tell you to buy or sell anything. I'm just going to give you my opinion. I bought a ton of crypto yesterday, okay? I did, because all the money I've made in crypto and that really changed my life, it was on these days. It was on FTX. It was on the COVID crash. That's when you make money. It's not when everything is pumping. It's when everything is crashing and dropping. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you my example. Again, I will not be able to touch everyone's touch points or pain points. Sorry, but again, we went to 5 on fear and greed. The liquidations, $2 billion, almost $2.5 billion in longs in 24 hours. But this is not all. This is not all, and this is one of the points that I want to touch here. These liquidations that we just saw, these ones here, this is just leverage. There are no loans here. And this is something that I address. I don't know exactly when it was because the videos are no longer available, but I know I did a video about two things. First, the ATs, dangerous. And that was around June, maybe beginning of September or during August, because I know I did it on Dubai and I went to Dubai in August. That's one of them. And the other one was loans using Bitcoin as collateral. And if you are here for at least more than 6 months, you know when the company started to offer loans backed by Bitcoin. And I was really vocal about this at the moment. I said, look, this is a major trap. You are not going to loan your Bitcoin on the top of the market. If you want to loan or give your Bitcoin as a collateral for a loan, you do it at the bottom of the market. If not, you're going to get liquidated. And this is a perfect example of what I want to show you today. Okay, what happened today, in my opinion, of course. And yeah, I'm going to explain everything as I've been doing it. I want to teach you in the base of my knowledge, in the limits of my knowledge, with my opinion so that you can take your decisions. But I want you to listen to this that I did in August. Okay, I really want you to listen to this video because I think it's important because I'm new to this channel. I'm new on Banter also. And this is who I am. And this is what I said in August so that you can understand why I'm always saying if you're an investor, you need to have a plan. So let's listen to this.
We've just entered August. Right now, I'm leaning towards a sideways movement. I'm inclined to think there could be a deeper correction in Bitcoin. One that would take me into 2026, but I also have a strong bias. I want an extended cycle. I want a bigger cycle. And I want 130 people and 54 likes. We have to go back to being intermittent. But as I was saying, that's what I want. Because it will give more time to accumulate. But I think now you have to realize if that sideways movement doesn't happen, if that correction doesn't come and the market decides to take off based on what we're seeing with Ethereum, is your portfolio ready? That's the first question. Is your portfolio ready in case the market decides to take off now? Are you satisfied with your portfolio? If the market doesn't take off now and we get a deeper correction, we'll see. Will you sleep soundly with the portfolio you have? These are two very important questions. These are two very important questions. It's time for you to have a plan. Which is, if it takes off, I'll execute it. If it doesn't take off, I sleep peacefully because I know the money that's there won't be needed for my expenses.
This was in August, okay? And again, I didn't call anything. Okay, there's a difference between calling or being prepared. And I'm a person that believes in being prepared for all scenarios. And I've said this a lot, especially on the Portuguese channel. The quote is not from me. No, it's not from me, but it's someone that said like this: till you can predict an explosion on an oil pipe somewhere in the world, you cannot say you know anything about the markets, okay? Because things happen when we least expect, okay? And if something that teaches us that, it was this cycle. So this for you to understand, what I'm trying to tell you here, I didn't call anything, but I prepared myself for a downturn. Now, if you ask me, was I expecting such a downturn right now? I wasn't. I wasn't expecting such a downturn. I'm not going to tell you here, no, I was expecting for Bitcoin to be at 59K in January. I wasn't. I told you, my validation was 74K. If we close the weekly above 74K, it was just deviation. Right now, it doesn't seem we are going to close the weekly at above 74K. So I need to reassess my plan. I need, not my plan, my analysis. But I know I had the plan in case I was wrong. And when you learn to do this, when you learn that nothing always goes according to plan. Maybe 99% of the times it goes against your plan. You decide to be ready. And this is why I'm not panicking right now. First, because it's not my first correction. Secondly, because I saw this in the past also. Okay? It's not the first time we see big correction. The fundamentals, they didn't change, but something broke. And we don't know why. And you need to understand that what happened yesterday was also across all markets. Not just one market. All markets. Stocks, silver, gold, whatever. Everything was dropping yesterday. But you know what was dropping also? US yields. And unfortunately, like I said, I don't have the previous videos. I had to do a deep research and I'm not going to do that. But I've always said this. They want to lower the US yields. And Besant is known for breaking things to get to their objectives. Okay, and I had all this documented, I had all the receipts, but unfortunately I think it's lost. But just for you to be aware of this, okay? And I think it's really important. And one of the things that broke the market yesterday, not broke the market yesterday, but start breaking the market, it was this. This is silver, but Bitcoin dropped a lot since we know who is the new Fed, or the nominated for the new Fed chair. And this is because he doesn't like quantitative easing. You might get rates, but that doesn't mean that there's going to be a quantitative easing. And we saw some de-risking on the market. And like I was saying, everything dropped, okay? We had Bitcoin dropping to 59 something, 59, I think it was 900. Let's say 59,900. We had gold dropping. We had silver dropping. We had the markets dropping. Everything was dropping, okay? And yesterday, I told you about the 4 Sigmas event. Yesterday, after my live stream, we had a 5 Sigma event. Not a 4, a 5 Sigma event. It was one of those that I didn't think we were going to get it. We did get one, okay? Now, there's another thing that's worrying in the market. And I really want you to understand, that's why I go so deep on this. The Max 7 companies are reporting higher Capex. And you need to understand why the market doesn't like this, okay? The market doesn't like that the companies that are reporting earnings, and it's every big tech company right now, they're all saying, we are going to spend more. But this is carrying the market, okay? You need to understand what is Capex, okay? And I'll be super quickly here, but if you are an investor, you need to understand these things, okay? You have 2 types of expenses. OPEX, that's operational expenses, that's salaries, rent, keeping the lights on when you have lights. So it's the cost of running the business today. Capex, it's capital expenditure. That's for building new stuff, factories, AI, data centers. You are betting on the future. So in a simple comparison or analogy, OPEX is your electricity bill, Capex is buying a new house. One keeps you alive, the other one takes years to pay off, okay? And every Max 7 is saying we are increasing our Capex. And you have the numbers here, Google raising Capex, Meta raising Capex, Tesla raising Capex, everyone, okay? And we are talking about way more than $300 billion from big tech and other companies. Now you ask me, why does the market hates this? Easy. When Capex goes up, the free cash flow goes down. And that's the money left over for buybacks, dividends, rewarding shareholders. What the companies are telling them, look, maybe there will be less buybacks. Maybe your earning per share will be less because we are raising the Capex. The shareholders don't like this. They are expecting a revenue if they have dividends. Maybe they were expecting buybacks to raise the stock prices. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you here? So, Wall Street doesn't price what you build. It prices the cash that you generate. And right now, that cash is being redirected into data centers. They won't produce any revenue for at least two to 3 years, okay? And this is one of the things that made the market crash. This is one of the things why you have companies reporting higher earnings than expected, and then it goes lower. And this is because if the revenue doesn't catch up to the spending, you got a Capex bubble. You know what, when was the last time we had a Capex bubble? .com vibes. .com vibes. .com bubble vibes. Okay, so when you have big tech Capex going up, less liquidity, tighter margins, investors are nervous. And now I want to show you what, in my opinion, happened yesterday. And as always, I will try to tell you and exemplify you exactly what happened. So I said to you, I think I have it here. One of the things that are not on those liquidation numbers, it's this, okay? The loans. This isn't there. And this is specific to BTC loans, okay? You have DeFi loans, you have Ethereum loans, you have some, yesterday, World Liberty Fi sold, I think, $5 million of Bitcoin to provide more collateral to their loan on 𝗕𝗏. To have hold on 𝗕𝗏, okay? To repay the collateral on 𝗕𝗏. So this is something that we are starting to see. And you don't have the numbers of this. I don't know how many loans were liquidated on strike from Jack Mallers. I don't know this. But I can tell you, or I can try to explain you, how a cascade event happens, okay? So, and these are really hard to detect. I'm going to the comment later. I saw it from Alex. So let's say that you have a loan like this, okay? You have Bitcoin, gold, stocks, and Ethereum. Let me see if I can put, you can see it, right? So you have a collateral of $900 million and a loan value of $500 million. The margin 1.5. And here you have 1.8. You are Gucci. You are okay. This is manageable. And now we're going to start our simulation. So you have here the initial setup. A large investment fund holds a levered position. It uses Bitcoin, gold, stocks, and Ethereum as collateral for a $500 million loan. Everything is stable, like I was telling you. Okay? We have a lesson here. Leverage amplifies gains and losses. And many funds operate using cross-portfolio. This is really important for you to understand what might have happened yesterday and why we saw such a quick cascade on everything. Okay? Like I said, it was a 5 sigma yesterday. And if you don't understand, go watch my live stream from yesterday and you'll understand. So, all these assets are a collateral for each other. Okay? But then we have the next step. And this is the external shock. Okay? So you can see the collateral is going lower. It's not 900 million anymore. It's 500 million. And this is an external shock. Let's an unexpected event. It's the market. Let's say 𝗕𝗏𝗏 being nominated for the Fed chair. Okay? We have geopolitical tension or negative macro data, whatever. And Bitcoin drops 50% in hours. This is the trigger. Okay? This is the first trigger. And then, look here, we are still dropping, okay? With Bitcoin falling, we are getting our first margin call. And I really want you to understand this. You are getting our first margin call, and the total collateral value approaches the minimum threshold, and the fund receives the margin call. And this is not the movie, okay? This is someone calling you and say, look, your collateral is going lower. If you don't raise your collateral, we are going to sell your assets. Okay, this is your fund manager calling. Look, you should have their margin call. Look, you know that GIF? This is what's happening. So, and they don't wait, they are automatic. So it's like having a DeFi loan. If you go to your liquidation zone, it's done, you're done. So it's the same thing, okay? The algo doesn't care if the market will recover. You did a loan, now you take it. And that's the responsibility you have. And then you have this. It's when your collateral is really going lower. And now you are in danger. And this is what I want you to understand what might have triggered the sell-off yesterday. Okay? So, to cover the margin, the fund is forced to sell gold. Not because gold has a problem. okay? But because it needs the liquidity now to provide more collateral. And now you are seeing a fund manager that needs to sell gold, is positioned on gold to cover the collateral on another position. And then when you go see, you see that gold is dropping because this was not one fund. It was several ones, okay? Several ones. And this is why you see gold and Bitcoin crashing together. They are not correlated with each other. It's a balance sheet correlation. Balance sheet correlation. And then we have more, okay? Because gold is going to trigger more margin calls in other funds. Do you understand what I'm trying to show you here? Because there are funds that use gold as collateral, not Bitcoin. But the funds that are selling gold to repay the loans on Bitcoin are arming the funds that use gold as collateral. You see the ripple effect here? Not the XRP. Ripple effect? It's really important for you to understand that this might have been what happened yesterday. So, those who have gold as collateral, they sell stocks in Ethereum to buy more gold, to have more collateral. And everything is dropping, and you don't understand why. And a lot of people are getting margin calls. This is exactly what happened yesterday. Everything was dropping. It was a domino effect. Contagion. Let me know in the chat if this is making sense to you, because I think it's really important for you to understand that these events happen and now they happen, okay? I want you to really understand how they happen. And this is the most simple way I found to explain you. And then there's the liquidity vacuum, liquidated. This is what happened yesterday. Everyone selling at once, there wasn't enough buyers. The order book gets thin and prices fall into the void until they find liquidity far below technical support levels. Now it's the most important part. The price you see during a cascade does not reflect the real value of the assets. It reflects the desperate need for liquidity from leveraged players. Do you understand this? I really want to know if this makes sense to you. Okay, I know someone is saying that. Thank you, but I really want to know if this made sense to you. And before continuation, I'm going to give you a clear example. You are taking a leverage trade, and everyone that does leverage did this. Okay, you are taking a leverage trade. You are almost being liquidated. You start selling your spot to cover your margin. It's the same thing that this. Let's say you are long on, how can I say this? Let's say you are long on Sol. Sol starts dropping. So you decide to sell your, I don't know, your Ethereum to cover your margin on Sol. You sell your Ethereum. Everyone did this. If you use leverage, I did it, you did it, and everyone did this mistake. It's part of the learning curve. You sell your spot to cover your leverage, to add more margin. But the Ethereum you sold is affecting my long on Ethereum. So now I will sell my Sol to cover my Ethereum long, and I will impact your Sol. I hope this makes sense to you, because in my opinion, this is what we saw yesterday, but across all markets. There was no change in fundamentals. There was no change in the asset values itself. We just saw there wasn't liquidity because of margin calls. Easy. This is what I do believe happened yesterday. So, when all the leverage positions get liquidated, when they are clean, there's no more leverage, that's when the selling pressure subsides. And opportunistic buyers step in, like I did yesterday, okay? So, that's when the market finds equilibrium, and often well below fair value, okay? You need to understand this, and this is really important. These moves are mechanical. They are not fundamental. The technology didn't change. No one cracked the Bitcoin code yesterday. That didn't happen. The fundamentals are still there. But mechanically speaking, there was a leveraged liquidity hunt yesterday. The only thing that changed was the liquidity structure. It was the only thing, nothing else. And this is why you saw this move here, okay? And this is why you saw this. And I'm going to tell you right after how you can use this to try to recover your portfolio, and I will tell you what I will do if I was in a certain situation that I'm going to show immediately. But before that, let's just pause a little bit on the explanations and go look at some charts. So, like I said, 74 was my invalidation point. It was broken. If it closed the weekly above, I will be really surprised, okay? And now I need time to reassess my positions, my analysis on the market, not my positions, but my analysis on the market. I need to understand what, in my opinion, can start to happen right now after this. And I didn't have time for that. As you know, my area has been devastated and it's really hard to find time to do all of this. But from a quick analysis point, we went to 59. We are now trying to recover. We are facing a resistance here around 67. And if nothing changes, if there isn't more liquidation events like we saw yesterday across all markets, just be aware it's weekend, it's Friday, and honestly, I think we are going to have two things today. Or Bessent and Bessent and Trump are going to say something that will pump the markets because it's Friday and they always like to do this. Usually there was a pattern. They pumped on the Friday, they dumped on the Sunday, always when the markets are closed. And they're going to say something and the market pumps. Or there's going to be some event this weekend that I'm not going to mention here, but you know what I'm talking about. Just check the airspace above a certain country and you will understand that might happen this week. So right now, I would be careful here. Okay, I would be really careful. I would be cautious here on Bitcoin, unless you did a long here. I think we are going to retrace something, to be honest. It makes sense for me to see Bitcoin retracing. I don't know, this will be the best case scenario. Doing something like this, okay, this will be the best case scenario. Doing a perfect W and then trying to go higher and start to climb higher again, okay? Because usually these liquidation events marks the start of the bottom. I don't know if it's the bottom. I'm not going to call the bottom like I told you, but I will be paying attention to this. Of course, the trade that I had yesterday got stopped. Same with Solana. I don't need to show you that, but I have to tell you that. I'm not hiding it. I just got stopped and I did another analysis. So right now, I would like to see a drop here to test the support again so that we know there are buyers there and then to start grinding higher. This is for Bitcoin, okay? And this is what I really wanted to see. And I hope we see that, okay? I hope we see that. And if it comes lower, I will be taking a long, okay? I will be taking a long here. But this is me, okay? So I will be taking a long there. And talking about that, do not forget, go to the link on Bluefin and take advantage of the welcome bonus up to $5,000. And because you should. And if you want to trade, you trade with the bonus. You don't risk your money. And it's an awesome exchange. Honestly, it's an awesome exchange. Why was I talking about 62? Because I do think that we are coming lower for the longs from yesterday before going any higher. But also, there's not many. I don't know if you ever saw something like this. Let me go here. I want to show you this. There's almost no liquidity here. If these heat maps are accurate and they work, there's nothing to go here. Only shorts right now. There are no longs on the market. Right now, there's no longs on the market. So that's why I've been saying, if you want to trade today, it's Friday, wait for confirmations, and then you go long. Easy. Unless you got the capitulation week here, then you can trade that, of course. This is always a good trade. For example, I can tell you my example. I longed XRP yesterday, 112, and I closed it by mistake. I did close it by mistake. So right now, focusing on Bitcoin, I will wait for a retrace, and then I will look for longs, okay? And when we have that retrace, I will be looking for longs on other pairs too. And maybe we will. Let's see how the market goes and how we behave during the stream. Let me see if I have any more comments. But what was the thing that started the point? I don't know, okay? I don't know what started the point, but I'm now going to tell you what you can do regarding your portfolio. And because I think this is important for you, and I want you to understand that sometimes the same way you clean your house, you clean your portfolio. And now it's the time when you clean your portfolio, okay? Let me just adjust here so that you can see. And I'm going to give you this as an example. Again, all of my presentations, whatever you want to call it, they will be available after the live stream. So I built this so that I can show you what I would do if I had my portfolio, if I needed to clean up my portfolio. I did it on the past, and let's take this as an example, okay? Again, not everything is the same. These are just examples. Don't look, the tokens here are just examples, okay? Okay, the tokens here are examples. Doesn't mean I'm bullish or bearish on them. It's just examples that you can apply to your portfolio, okay? Just for you to be clear of that. But let's say that you have 115K or more or less invested. Now it's in the current value is 99K, and you lost 15K, round numbers, okay? And this is your portfolio: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Link, Sui, Pepe, SHIB, Jasmy, and Fete and Bonk. Okay, I try to have everything here, memes, etc. So this will be a standard portfolio. What you need to understand is when you go to analyze this, you need first to ask yourself a question. Would you buy more at this price? And if your answer is no, you shouldn't hold it. I'll tell you again. The first question, you can call it the bucket if you want to. It's which tokens from my portfolio would I buy more and which one I wouldn't. And if there's tokens in your portfolio that you won't buy more at these prices, they shouldn't be in your portfolio anymore. I know you'll be taking a loss, and this is not financial advice. They can pump later. I don't know which tokens you are talking about. I'm just telling what I will do. Okay? But this is me. If I looked at my portfolio and the tokens that are there and don't buy at these prices, they shouldn't be there. Okay? Even if I have to sell to a loss, I don't care. And then you have these buckets. It's so easy to do this, and your portfolio will be consolidated and you'll be ready for when the time comes. So you can keep your convictions: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. If you are in doubt in these examples, Link and Sui, you need to review. Is the team working? Did the team vanish? Are they still delivering? Okay? How can I say this? Are the promise being kept? Okay? Or did the founder just vanish? I don't know where he is. Did the team stop replying on the Telegram group? Okay? This is what's called reviewing your project. Okay? Again, I'm not saying that Link and Sui are bad holes. Okay? This is just examples. I have both. I don't have Sui, I have Link. I don't have Sui because ideological reasons, not because of anything else. I do think Sui will perform well. I don't hold it, but I have Link, for example. Okay? This is just examples here. And then you have the debt capital, the ones that you should cut. And these examples are Pep, SHIB, Jasmy, Fete, and Bonk. And these are the ones that, for example, the team is gone. They have no volume. You bought on hype. You made a mistake. I had a few mistakes my cycle. I had them. Look, I can tell you. 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙 was one of my mistakes. 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙 was one of my mistakes. So I have my mistakes also. Okay, sometimes you need to clean your portfolio. And this is what you do on this time. Because now, when you detect this, the ones that you want to cut, you move it. And you move it from I want to cut this to your convictions. But again, first, and I'll say this as many times needed, I'm not saying that you should not hold 𝗕𝗟𝗫𝗵, 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙𝗵𝗃, okay? I'm not saying that, those are just examples. What I'm saying is that in this example, they are on the tokens to cut. So we are going to send it to our convictions because the price right now is good, okay? So you are going to rescue 𝗕𝗏𝗃, the sum of these ones, and allocate to your convictions. That's it. And before you had 99K, now you have 82.3K. But now you are okay. Now you have your conviction. You have every token needs a reason to stay. Capital trapped in, it's a missed opportunity. Concentrated on conviction, cut the rest. And I want you to do this exercise. Now I want you to open your portfolio and apply to the 3 buckets. And then you'll be able to decide if it should stay or not in your portfolio. And you consolidate and you just wait. Let me ask you this. How many tokens do you have on your portfolio? I want to know this. How many tokens do you have in your portfolio? Let me know in the chat. Those that are watching, I want to know in the chat. How many tokens do you have in your portfolio? And also, how many of them are dead? Who holds, I don't know, 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙𝗵𝗁 or memes from the meme season? All of that. That's capital that you can rescue. Alone, they might not be too much, but together, you can buy, I don't know, way more. And buy your conviction and increase your convictions. Okay? It's easy. It's easy. And when you learn to do this and you are comfortable doing this, you will see that is needed. Okay, this is something I learned. This is something I do often. I just told you 2 of my mistakes. Probably I have more. I don't remember all of them. And if you ask, oh, but if they pump, I don't care. If they pump, they pump. I took a decision. It's very easy to take decisions after we know what happened, right? You are taking a decision with what you know today. And today, the smartest thing is cut your losses and reallocate them in your convictions. And you still have those that you are still waiting to see where they should go, okay? This is why you have set a discrepancy here. And that's it. You don't have scattered capital, and there's no passive hope. Does this make sense to you? I'm seeing 10 tokens, 12 tokens, I think it's acceptable. I know people that have 30 tokens. And most of them now, they are valued at 0. I know this. And I know people that are like this. So just for you to be aware, this is something I started to do. And if it works for me, it should work for you. Okay? In theory, it should work for you. And let me just, that was a comment. The research is good, but you need to tell us in advance. I understand that, Alex, but I cannot tell you in advance till I got the earnings. What do you want me to tell you? I'm not insider trading. I don't know that all companies are going to start to report higher Capex. No, I cannot tell you that. Okay, if I knew that, I'll be shorting everything. Okay, I will be the 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙 of the YouTube if I knew that, but I don't know. Okay, so you need to understand that the research that I do, some are my convictions and I take investments based on what I believe and what I research. Another of them is just trying to explain you why things happen. Because then you can start to detect a pattern here. Now, I cannot know if Amazon or Google are going to declare more Capex than expected before they report the earnings. I cannot know that. It's impossible to know that, okay? And if I knew that, that would be insider trading. So you can't do that. Now, another thing that I want you to know, and I want you to do, and I think you should do. And again, I'm new to this channel. I know I'm new on Banter, but I want you to understand one thing, okay? I share everything I do with you honestly and transparent. And there are certain things that I don't talk lightly. And one of them are airdrops. Everyone that followed the airdrops that I was farming, they are pretty happy. I need to say really, really happy, okay? Especially the last one, it was lighter. And the new one that you have now, and you still have time to farm it, you just need to use this. It's the cast card. And I've been very vocal about cast even before joining Banter. You should get this card. You go to the link here. You go to the link here. You request your cast. You activate your cast, add to your Google Play or Android Play, or how do you call it on Android? I'm an Apple guy. So you go there and you start using, and you start farming the airdrop. Again, I don't talk lightly about airdrops, but I'm telling you, if you don't have this card yet, you should go to this link and start earning the cashback. The airdrop, it's announced to be on this semester. You still have time. We're in February. And this is something that you start doing right now. You can get to 7% cashback in points. Then you'll get to an airdrop allocation. I don't talk about this lightly, okay? But when you start to research about cast, and when you start to see what cast is doing, and you compare with something like a Revolut, I only have one question for you. Wouldn't you like to have a Revolut card before Revolut is what it is today? Believe me on this, on cast. Okay? And again, if you go to my timeline on my X, and you should follow me on X, I've been talking about cast for a lot of time. And I know, and I hope that the airdrop will be as good as I think, and it will change as many lives as I already did with airdrops. Okay? So it's up to you. You know what to do. And yeah, I won't say anything more. I told you already everything you need to know about the cast card. So it's my daily card. It's the only card I use when I have profits for my trades, not the ones that I got stopped yesterday. Not those ones. Okay. Yesterday I didn't charge my cast card. I hope I will charge them. I will charge it today. So, but yeah, it's my main card. You just transfer stable coins there. That's it. And then you can start to use it. And if you live in Europe, you can even transfer from your bank account. Now, I would love to give you some trades, but I do think it's really dangerous, especially after what happened yesterday, because the market is going to, how can I say this? The US is going to open in 1 hour, exactly. And if you want to trade, I think most of the tokens right now are facing resistance, okay? So, imagine that I closed this long for a mistake. So, if they are at the resistance, you can do two things. You wait for example, Ethereum, XRP, or Bitcoin to clean the resistance, test it as support, and open a long, something like this, or you just short it. If you want to short now, I think there's not that many liquidity to short. But if you want to short, you need to wait, okay? You need to wait, for example, for Ethereum to come to these levels here, and then you short it. If you believe it's going to drop, if I wanted to short Ethereum, for example, I would short it here, 2030, but I think it's a risky trade. You need to put a really low stop loss here, okay? Like low, and like just in case. The market starts to pump, in case Trump says something, Besant says something, we know it's Friday and that might happen. So, in my opinion, you have two ways to trade today. You go to Bluffen, you claim your bonus, you risk your bonus, and you go DGen, or you wait for confirmations, you wait for the session, for the US sessions, and maybe we'll start to do more shows here after US so that you can start trading more But right now, I think the market is at a danger zone, and I really want to see some confirmations before start trading. And unfortunately, I closed the XRP long, but I think I'm going to get another chance. So before I go, two things. Just two. If you speak Portuguese, follow us on the Crypto Banter Portugal. You have the link below, and I'm live every day. I'll be live in like 45 minutes from now on the Portuguese channel, and I hope to see you there. And now, remember what I told you. Correct your portfolio, clean your portfolio, and what happened was not that was a surprise, but there's always an explanation, and this is the explanation of why I believe it happened. So, again, clean your portfolio, know that events happen. If you are trading, you need to be aware that this can happen anytime. There's no way to predict, like, I think it's Alex, right? Yeah, Alex was saying, I cannot know this in advance. And again, I will even say this, even the most bearish people here on the space weren't expecting this to be so fast. I'm not saying that they were not expecting a drop. Okay, some people called the drop, and they were right, period. But they weren't expecting so fast with no relief bounces. Okay? These type of events usually are an opportunity. They don't sound like an opportunity, they don't feel like an opportunity, but usually an acceleration like this, and I showed you yesterday and I showed you today, are outliers on the normal market, and usually the outliers are opportunity when they go to the downside. When they are to the upside, they are opportunity to sell, of course. So if you want to take something from here today, is that opportunity doesn't always sound like an opportunity. And if you do your research, if you clean your portfolio, maybe in a few months, maybe weeks, you'll be happier with the choices you are making. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to the channel, leave the like, and Monday I'm here again. And tomorrow I'll be on Banter main channel. Maybe the time is better tomorrow. Tomorrow I believe we are going to do some trades. See you all.